Welcome back, everybody. This is the Resistance Broadcast. I'm John. Thanks for joining us today on this gorgeous Monday morning. I don't know if it's gorgeous. I have no idea. We don't have a lot of windows here in the base, but we're here to talk to you about Star Wars. We're going to get into a lot of cool stories, the latest in Star Wars news, give our takes on said news, and then you comment on those takes with your takes. And then sometimes we reply, and we have a little bit of a back and forth with it. With me, as always, James and Lacey. Past the big 6,000, as we predicted last week on YouTube. So big shout out and thanks everybody for joining us on that platform. Even though we're a predominantly audio podcast in terms of our audience, feeling good about the 6K mark as we put our eye on 7K as the next milestone.
Mm-hmm. Weird.
My birthday is in 2 weeks. You guys came early.
They all came over. I'm going to subscribe because it's Lacey's birthday coming up.
The big 4-0 coming up.
Oh, yeah, the big 4-0. You know me. It's actually 63, so.
66. What's the 66?
I'm glad we're big YouTube stars now.
I know. Well, now they send you the plaques.
Yeah.
And they send you the checks. They get the big checks like Happy Gilmore got. We start getting those now, so that's good.
Well,
it's more like a notice that's like, you're not that great.
Yeah. I was upstairs and my son was watching like Just Dance videos because he tries to like copy the dance or whatever. And then it just slowly kind of shifts into Katy Perry videos. And I'm like, what is happening now? It's like just repeats. Like they're all Katy Perry songs and stuff. Like,
because she does stuff with them. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. But what's weird, and this is crazy because I'm not like a super big Katy Perry fan or anything, but I will say if I had a favorite song of hers, it would be The One That Got Away. But then I had no clue that Diego Luna was in the music video. I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, he is.
What song?
The One That Got Away.
The One That Got Away.
What is it?
It's Diego Luna. And you know what? He dies in that too. I'm like, what is? Come on.
He didn't get away in Rogue One. That was unfortunate.
He was the one who did not get away.
Well, imagine the video was the Death Star singing, and it's like someone that didn't get. It's like Cara Dune got away from the explosion on Alderaan, and it's the Death Star singing The One That Got Away.
Pretty much the only thing that got away was the disc.
Yeah, the floppy disk.
Yeah, the floppy disk.
All the plans on it. So we're not talking about Rogue One today, but we are going to touch a little bit on the spin-off of that wonderful spin-off movie. So spin-off of a spin-off. Andor has some updates in it we'll get to later. But James, we have some cool stories to get into, so you guys want to talk some news?
It's the Resistance.
All right, well, there has been a lot of speculation on what is going on with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series as far as where it's filming, right? I'm pretty sure the band Boston was involved at one point, but all these different locations are finally being squashed by the man himself. He was recently doing some interviews with Eddie Izzard. I was actually doing a little like live stream thing with him, and he was asked about the project, and he confirmed that in fact the show will be filming late spring, and it's going to be in LA. And he went as far as to be like, none of that Boston stuff, which I was kind of joking before, but it was Boston, Massachusetts, Boston, England. There was a lot of Boston going around, and it now has been put to rest because he talks about how they're going to be using the volume and so much more. And it's all going to be in LA. So, John, what were your thoughts on this? Are you glad to have that just done with? Like, why did it take this long to just have somebody come out and be like, that's wrong?
Yeah, so it's funny how, you know, when Ewan McGregor talks about this stuff, he's such a veteran of the industry at this point that he talks about it in such a casual manner that you almost like, it's so enjoyable to hear him bring things down to like the surface of just like it's his gig, and he's like, yeah, I was talking to my dad about it, and he was messaging me. He's like, you're filming this thing in Boston? And it's like, I thought you were filming this in Los Angeles. You told me you were filming in Los Angeles. So he's like calling his son to see if he lied to him about where his show is filming just because some site came up with this thing.
Yeah.
So that site that has been used by a lot of these people claiming to have sources on Kenobi filming, and it's clearly just incorrect. Productionlists.com or whatever it is. And, I don't mind saying their name at this point because it's just a total complete miss. Now it's not, we meant Boston, England. Let me check. Is there a Boston, England? Yes, that's where they're doing it. It's Boston, England. That's the one. And then Ewan McGregor's like, yeah, we're filming this in Los Angeles, California. They're like, oh, is there a Los Angeles in England? Please. So I don't know. I like hearing him slap this stuff down. He's been doing it. Now that he's been able to talk about Kenobi, I think he's having fun doing it, and I can't wait till it ramps up when he can talk even more about it, because he can't talk about the story and stuff like that. But he had to keep his mouth shut for so many years about coming back, and now that he is out in the open, that he's back, he's able to say, "Oh yeah, we're shooting that in spring." He's like, "Yeah, there's always a lot of shit going on around rumors and stuff, but they'll figure it out." And they were talking about like the shakeups with the story and stuff. So I don't know. Late spring they're filming. We thought it was going to be March, so it's got pushed back a couple of months. I'm thinking maybe now we're looking at maybe a May the 4th be with you sort of debut in 2022 of the Kenobi series would be kind of interesting, which is a Wednesday. I think that'd be a cool spot for it. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to hear from him and cool to hear him confirm this type of thing. I wish it was sooner, but as long as they start filming it and get it going and he's back in the robot, that's enough for me right now.
Ewan is a funny guy when it comes to that stuff. You were saying like how he always shoots down the news of what everyone's been hearing. I feel like he's done that a couple times. Like, wasn't there something recently where like everybody was saying the Kenobi was in trouble or whatever, and then he was like, somebody
That's
was like
what I was talking
interviewing
about.
it like at a party or something. He's like, what?
Yeah.
No, we film next year, the beginning of next year. Well, who told you that? Like, kind of thing. It's funny.
Yeah.
Lacey, what were your thoughts on this story? And if you want to, you can talk a little bit about the Chung-hoon Chung, who is a cinematographer who's been kind of loosely confirmed for the series as well.
I appreciate that offer. I'm going to let John cover that one because he actually wrote that article. But I will talk about Ewan. I'll talk about Ewan all day. Ewan is the best. He's so charismatic and charming per usual. Dude doesn't age. Like, every interview I see him, he looks exactly the same about Obi-Wan, like going back to like 6 years ago when someone's like, would you ever want to, and he's like, yeah, it looks like it was shot like the same interview. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for it to start filming, and I really hope that we get a May the 4th either teaser or interview from the set or some type of announcement where we get to see that it's in production. And I could see that happening around May the 4th because they're looking for things to announce now. That would be a great thing to do. Or like some type of reel of like what's in production right now would be really cool on May the 4th. And I think this might play into that. I could see it happening.
Yeah, because they could do this year on May the 4th. They could just drop it and be like, in 1 year.
They do this, Cassian, Book of Boba Fett. They can include footage from all those shoots.
Well, I'm saying
or just show like a clapboard of Obi-Wan starting shooting or something.
Yeah,
with like a lightsaber on a table.
Well, I was and I was thinking it would say something along the lines of like in 1 year, and then that will be the official announcement if we now know when it's going to get released, kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see that being really cool, and it's something to announce right now because when you look at what's going on, I mean, nothing's really happening because of everything that's happened in the past year with COVID. So it's like, okay, what are they going to do this year? And that seems like something pretty straightforward. Also, it's really cool that it's being shot in the US. You know, a lot of these things happen overseas and happen in, you know, crazy locations, and they're just taking more advantage of the volume, which is really, really awesome. And for me, at least, it gets me excited because I feel like it's less likely to leak things, but who knows?
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. You know, Deborah Chow called that place home for Mandalorian, so it might even be the same studio for all we know. Not really sure what the schedule for Mandalorian's filming is going to be like, because that was rumored to be starting filming in April. I mean, maybe they are scheduling it so both shows are filming around the same time at the same place, Manhattan Beach, in that studio. I don't know.
All they have to do is really switch out the background.
Well, I'm picturing Deborah Chow going up to Jon Favreau and saying, "Can I borrow this?" And he just like stares at her, and she's like, "We're filming in LA." Like,
yeah. Right.
Can I borrow?
That's all she needed.
Dibs.
John, the South Korean news website Cine21 is saying that Chung-hoon Chung is going to be shooting this thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with Korean news websites. Obviously, you got to trust South Korean news more than North Korean news.
This is top on my Twitter, actually.
By default. Yeah. So, but this is one of those stories where, what is the benefit of breaking a cinematographer news and making it up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be like, Mark Hamill's coming back to play Luke Skywalker, and you're like, I don't know if I'm buying that one from Cine21, but they're like, Chung-hoon Chung is going to be the cinematographer for Kenobi. You're like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
And he's an accomplished cinematographer.
Yes.
He award winner. He won the Boston Society of Film Critics Award for best cinematography for The Handmaiden in 2016. Also did the sequel to Zombieland, Hotel
both Zombielands, actually.
Artemis. He did both, okay. And he's doing the upcoming Edgar Wright movie Last Night in Soho, which is getting buzz, and the 2022 Uncharted movie, which I think a lot of people are going to be hyped about.
You know what? I'm wrong on that. I could have sworn I saw the original Zombieland. It's just the second one. But Old Boy,
the double tap.
Yeah, just the double tap one. Old Boy,
just the double tap.
Hotel Artemis, and
Right.
and the original It movie, not the original, but
Right.
the remake. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there, and I actually watched like a breakdown of his cinematic style, and I'm like, dude, there's some awesome stuff in his work that is like very not Star Wars. So it kind of got me excited in a sense that like I don't know, like Lacey, like you might remember like the Black Panther shot that everybody talks about. It's like,
You mean the one that I talk about?
well, no, I think everybody talks
it.
about it. No, I'm saying that I think it's like a very notable, like, whoa, what are they doing? Like, we haven't seen something like this. And he's the kind of person that would bring something like that to Obi-Wan. Very cool. And Uncharted.
I think he has a lot
apparently,
of
too.
he has a lot of action movies and adventure movies under his belt, so that's kind of what you would expect from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And
Especially like the Uncharted stuff is very like Indiana Jones-esque.
Yeah.
Is that's a video game?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it looks like, I don't know familiar with what The Handmaiden is, but it sounds like he does a lot of. He's dipped his foot.
Handmaiden is dystopian America.
Okay, so I mean, it looks like he's shot things that kind of all may look different, and depends on what it is, and
Sure.
and that sort of thing. So, but I wonder, when you think about Zombieland and other stuff that is dystopian based, if there's going to be that sort of empire and places in ruins type of vibe in terms of the scenery of this series, which is very original trilogy, very A New Hope. The old popular adage about it is the lived-in vibe and stuff, but it's maybe seeing it even more torn up and seeing what the ramifications are of having this tyrannical empire. And you see this like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi, even though he'll be older, pulled out of the pristine, shiny beautifulness of the prequels and tossed into this just mess is going to be a different aesthetic for us as fans to see, and probably for him to enjoy playing in.
Yeah.
Instead of all those shiny new fancy
Less blue.
things. Yeah.
sure.
Less silver.
No, I'm saying less blue screens.
Oh, right. Yeah, the blue and green screen. I thought you meant blue.
No, I meant like less literal blue.
Sure. Yeah. Without a doubt.
We also wanted to talk a little bit about what we were talking earlier, the spin-off of with Rogue One. No, we actually got a chance to hear from Alan Tudyk again, thanks to Entertainment Tonight's Ash Crossan, friend of the podcast, Ash Crossan. She sat down with him and specifically asked him to elaborate on the whole, like, wait a second, what the heck? You said you were in, Disney said you were in this. Kathleen Kennedy said you were in this. You say you're not. And he gave a much more full answer to that, which is along the lines of, yes, I believe they want to do a series. Yes, I believe I am going to be in it. Yes, I believe it's down the line. I can't talk much about it, but you get the idea of why maybe I'm not shooting right now. Which is really cool to hear, because it's like even double downing on the confirmation that this is in fact a series, and it's not that they wrote him out of the story, that he will be in it. We will get K2, as of now at least, and he will be back. So I don't know. What do you think about this, Lacey?
I honestly read this answer so I watched the interview at the day it happened. Mm-hmm. Or when they posted it. But then I went back and read this article just to get up on what we were going to be talking about. And I read his answer like K2, because it's very like, I was announced at the beginning, and every announcement I saw had me involved, and I'm not involved currently. So just like in my head, I was thinking of K2 being like, I am going to prison. Like that line that he does.
Yes, but no.
No. I took this with a sense of humor that Alan Tudyk's like, I don't know, man. Like, I was involved. I've been a part of it the whole time. I'm sure I'll be back, but like, here's my bland answer for you. That is basically what you already assumed. But it is kind of comical that they did bring him out in the beginning, and he has been in every single thing after. So I'm sure it's a surprise to him when he was told that he wasn't. He's like, oh, so this is awkward.
Yeah.
But as a big K2SO fan and the person that I was looking forward to most seeing in the new series, I'm excited to know that he strongly believes he will be there eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, they got to schedule him, right? So they're telling him, like, look, don't make plans for December 2021 to March 2022. We're going to need you on some stilts. But, yeah, this ties in, and I put this in the article, like, this ties right into that whole changes that were going on with this series, because we forget a lot of the main trusted reports were saying that this was supposed to start filming in 2019, a few months after the D23. So, they waltzed them out on stage, and they had their scripts at the time, at least the pilot and maybe the first few episodes or what have you, probably with him locked in the story, ready to go. And then they bring back good old Tony Gilroy, famous for the big massive changes that happened with Rogue One. Mm-hmm. It was reported that he rewrote not only some of the series, he rewrote the pilot. So that changes everything, and the trajectory of the series might have changed drastically. And maybe he was like, look, I don't see how this story works with Cassian being a spy. If K2's with him, it's hard to be a spy, all jokes aside, with an 8-foot robot walking around with you. So we need to start this series off by giving Cassian the whole spotlight. Maybe it's a little darker at the beginning, and we don't need the comic relief at that point. We bring in K2 once we establish what this story is for this series in Season 2. Alan Tudyk's fully aware of it. They kind of let him know, like, hey, we shifted this around. We're going to actually bring you in Season 2. And he's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And you see it right on his face in this interview. He's just kind of like, don't worry, guys. I'm coming back. It's just a little later. So
he's a funny guy.
He is. And he seems, again, one of those people that is very down to earth about this, even though this is so big to fans and stuff. And he loves it. It doesn't, like, him being down to earth and casual about it doesn't mean he doesn't love it. He's just very, almost like a fans type of actor, where he talks about things like he's on your level and he's not above here talking industry terms and stuff. He's just like, yeah, I think he'll be back at some point. I think, yeah, he's not like zipped up about it. So it's refreshing to hear him talk about this sort of stuff. I like it.
I'm just picturing K2SO with Alan's luggage ready to go shoot and just being like, just dropping it.
Yeah.
You're not in it anymore.
I can't. He's obviously doing his tour right now for his new show Resident Alien, where he plays like an alien in a human body or whatever, and it's
which is so perfect for him, by the way.
But
now he's been a pirate, a robot, and an alien.
Yeah. And it's so funny hearing John describe all these things, not putting the things together. Where he's like, John, you're like, he's so down to earth. You know, he's not up here. He's right here. You know, it's like, I'm like just thinking aliens every time you're describing this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Even you say zip them up, and I think of Area 51, like the body. He's like, zip it up.
You're in full. Have you been watching that show?
No, I've been seeing a lot of trailers. And oddly enough, I know this kind of sounds weird, but I ran across this thing on Reddit where there was a guy dressed up as an alien, and I was like, dude, that looks so real. And it actually got confused with Alan Tudyk. The alien looks similar. Not Alan Tudyk, but the alien that he plays in the show, because it looks kind of similar. But I went down a rabbit hole of trying to find the source of the guy who...
Of aliens?
Of aliens. I think I got it all figured out, guys. I spent a good evening, and I know a lot about the government.
I'm an expert now.
Figured it all out, yeah.
That's good. That is good. It's good info. You know what's funny? As much as like Star Wars has aliens and stuff, I usually don't like movies or shows that are about aliens.
Really? Roswell is so good.
Like, I didn't like. I mean,
Roswell,
E.T. aside,
isn't that like Riverdale, but with aliens?
Basically, it's so good.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I missed that one. Yeah,
the original is good. The new one's okay.
Like, I was never a big X-Files fan. I know I'm probably getting booed about that, but anything that's alien, and like as a kid, I know people who were like around my age, like remember seeing the trailer for Fire in the Sky. You guys ever hear about that movie?
Yeah. Mm-mm. Well, the book.
Horrifying trailer. Like, I still have nightmares about watching that trailer because I thought I was gonna get abducted by aliens when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like people who are listening to this who are around my age know exactly what I'm talking about. Horrifying. Just terrifyingly scary.
What did you do to protect yourself?
I would have like I don't know what I would do. I would like tuck myself into my
Because I feel like little
sheet.
kids do stuff like that. Like when I was little and I was afraid of ghosts, I'd like obviously sleep with like the covers over me.
Yeah,
See,
I think
that
I was
made
too
it
old
worse
for like
for me.
stuffed animals. I think I just like was scared. I didn't think I was too old to like understand. I was old enough to understand that I couldn't do anything to stop it. So I think I would shut my blinds and hope that they went to like my sister's window instead.
There was nothing I could do to stop it.
There's nothing you can do to stop it. So I was like, maybe they'll just take my sister instead, and then I'll be fine.
I really liked the show So Weird
Sorry, Autumn.
on Disney.
Apologize.
If anybody remembers that, and they had a couple episodes on aliens, but one specifically on abductions.
Wait,
and
what
stuff.
show?
So Weird.
Oh, so good. Loved that show.
But no, you said you put the covers over your head, and I always thought that made it worse because then my brain started going, they're probably standing next to my bed, or they're probably looking in the window or whatever. At least with the covers off, you could kind of confirm that wasn't happening, but then you did get tired and you close your eyes, and then your brain would start rattling through that stuff too. It's like, oh man, that was the worst. Yeah.
And you don't want to Dutch oven yourself either. Let's be honest.
John.
Wow. Lots of amazing information on this podcast. Shall we move to the next story?
Next story, please.
Well, the next story has a lot of information in it as well.
It's always a constant, like somewhat interesting conversation. Then John says something and it just goes
immediately.
That's called indirect segues.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Go ahead, James.
So there is actually a lot to this story, and it's kind of interesting. I'm not really a gamer, and I have stayed away from a lot of the Legends stuff. So when I hear about Knights of the Old Republic and I hear about the Old Republic, and I get this stuff all kind of confused. I do know that it is a popular game, and that it is considered Legends, even though they're still making Old Republic stuff. Because that game's still relevant, I guess. But the thing is that there's now talks that they're officially going to reboot Knights of the Old Republic, the game, but potentially under a new upcoming studio. And there's a lot of evidence that points to that, including people who are saying, they're talking about the rise of that new company, saying, oh, they're getting ready to head into a AAA title. We'll tell you it's about as big as a AAA title as you can get. It's just like all these hints that it's probably a giant Star Wars game. There's the fact that EA is kind of doubled down on the fact that they're not working on that, even though they were working. They did the original. John, I don't know, or Lacey, either one of you guys, if either one of you knows more about this story, I'm kind of like trying to pick the pieces up because I don't know these studios and I don't have relation to the studios. In the same way that I think a lot of gaming fans do. Lacey, what do you know about the Knights of the Old Republic? And do you think this actually points to evidence of them actually rebooting it and creating a canonical version of the game?
So Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars The Old Republic are very, very popular games. And they were made by BioWare, and BioWare got bought by EA. So EA's been kind of working on other things. They've done Jedi Fallen Order, they've done Battlefront, but they haven't taken any interest or time into taking this game that they technically own and just redoing it because it's so popular, especially now when Star Wars has been so crazy. So from the sound of this story is that EA is losing their exclusive license in 2 years. That's why we see the Ubisoft announcements and all these other games that are coming out or being proposed that are Star Wars games, but they're not specifically EA. So EA is basically like, look, we got our plate full. You do what you got to do type thing. So these guys are, which is Aspyr? I don't know how to say that. Aspyr.
Aspyr, I think.
Yeah. So they have been investing about $70 million into this game that they haven't said is a Star Wars game necessarily, and they haven't said exactly what it is, but they're specifically putting up job posts for staff to build out a game, and they've been hiring specifically people that worked on Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars The Old Republic. Mm-hmm. So when someone's looking at this, you know, it's like putting two and two together of, okay, they're putting a lot of money behind this big MMO game that's a very popular title that people are going to be interested in. It's this up-and-coming company that wants to make a big splash. EA's kind of contract is ending, but so they don't want to get invested in this game again, but there is a popularity there, and they're hiring the people from that popular game. So it's kind of just like people are assuming things, but I mean, all signs point to yes, which I would be all for, because it seems like a really fun game. I remember playing it or watching people play it like a long time ago and never really got into it the way that I've gotten into like Battlefront, but it could be really, really fun.
When did that game come out and what system was it on?
I
believe it was on PlayStation.
I thought it was a computer game. Yeah.
I know Old Republic is computer.
Well, the thing about it is I always thought Knights of the Old Republic was a MMO, but it's not. Old Republic is.
Yes.
And so even reading this article, I was like, oh, Knights of the Old Republic is like a game, like a regular game. We look like the weakest Star Wars fans right now.
No, we don't, because it came out a long time ago.
2003.
I know, but
yeah, and it was for
a lot of people,
Mac,
I feel like this is like their Star
Xbox,
Wars, you know?
Android.
Yeah, it came out Xbox, like Lacey
and I
said,
totally get that, but the realization is that since then, better games have come out in the sense of more advanced games like Battlefront, Squadrons, Jedi Fallen Order, that any Star Wars fan that has the time and money to invest in a game like this right now is playing those games and not this game.
But they're still playing Old Republic.
Some of them are, yeah.
Because they're still creating new expansions to that
stuff
game.
For it, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want to, the reason why I asked that is because I wanted to make comparisons to something that had been redone in the modern era, like Battlefront, because there was the old Battlefront and Battlefront 2 games for like PS2 that came out around those times, like 2005 or 2004 or whatever it was. And now they have the new Battlefront where they do the online multiplayer. And they do the, extra things that you can buy and add on to your game and that sort of thing. So I wonder if they're going to do like a KOTOR game where it's going to have the online multiplayer and you just have this massive lightsaber warfare on a battlefield, Braveheart style. I think that would allure a lot of people to go play that type of game with all these Jedi and and Sith or whatever's going on.
Old Republic is Windows. It came out December 20th, 2011. And that makes sense because I remember seeing a booth for it at New York Comic Con like 2010.
Okay. But and then the other thing that concerns me though is, people always talk about the gatekeepers of EU, which is now called Legends, and that is what is their Star Wars besides George Lucas's movies. And Knights of the Old Republic is that times 10. Like, that's the one where they're like, this is KOTOR's our thing, and like we love Knights of the Old Republic. And I think it's going to be a little. The reason why I never thought that they would redo it is because I feel like this one's going to be one of those real hot button things with a lot of those fans saying like, you didn't get this right, you didn't get that right. It's going to be a very contentious thing for a lot of fans, especially gamers. Like, I'm not a big gamer, so I probably won't be dialed in too much, so it won't affect me that much. But that storm is definitely coming.
Unless they change it to Knights of the High Republic.
Yeah, they could do that.
I hope they make it cross-platform.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to assume they're going to try to do that as much as possible. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's cool. I mean, it's going to be weird what they do with that in terms of canon, because if all the video games are considered part of the canon, what does that mean for other stories in that Old Republic era? Because now they're doing the focus on the High Republic with the books, but they're also going to be dipping their foot, I guess, back into Old Republic now from a canon standpoint, and that's huge because that's stuff people have been wondering about for a very long time, when they're going to dive into that era. So it looks like instead of moving the story forward, they're going to be looking back even further behind the High Republic if they're doing this game. Now, it's possible they just say, Knights of the Old Republic, boom, we're going to leave that there for a while. Or they're like, we're just getting started here with recanonizing Old Republic stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But
yeah,
a little concerned for the gamers because of how gatekeepy KOTOR is with some fans, but hopefully it's all good.
Well, you know what's interesting is that if you lay it out that way, it almost says our video game world is here in the Old Republic, 1,000 years before the movies. And then our future of publishing is here. It's in this world and this time frame, this era. All of our television stuff seems to be in this era. Your Landos, your Rangers of the New Republic, your Ahsokas, your Mandalorians.
Not Acolyte, though. Acolyte.
That's true.
Acolyte's,
that's true. But generally, it's all in this era.
Yeah.
And then it looks like the movies that we've gotten confirmed is potentially like past 9. It's like, down there.
That's true. The Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like they've separated their different mediums.
Maybe they're doing that on purpose so that the canon stuff doesn't crisscross and cross the streams type thing.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I don't know exactly what they're planning, but as you laid that out, I was sitting there thinking like, man, it seems like they've really like focused in each one of their multimedias on a area, and this could point to more evidence of that. Guys, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into that game, and I guess I hope it turns out well. That it comes and it turns out well. There are a couple other things that we wanted to talk about as far as news. A couple little quick things. Mandalorian was nominated for Best TV Drama Series at the Golden Globes. All that stuff is
not gonna win, but it's nice to be nominated.
All that stuff is mixed up and out of order. I think that this is way after when it probably should have been the regular Golden Globes, because the Oscars are also like way later. I think those are like in April when they're normally in February.
I think these are in April too. Pretty sure.
I thought they were surprisingly earlier than the Oscars. Let me see here. 78th Golden Globes. Yeah, I can't remember. We can look it up later. But here it is. February 28th. 70th Golden Globes will take place February 28th, coast to coast, 5 p.m. So it's later. I think normally the Golden Globes are in January, but they only moved to February, whereas the Oscars are actually more likely in February, and they moved all the way to like April.
Yeah.
Yes.
The D23 website put up something that covered a lot of the new stuff that's coming out in their upcoming issue, and that involves, Raya and the dragon and all that. And one of the things that they mentioned was Disney Plus's Bad Batch. Since all of those things are being released in the spring, fans started using that as evidence to kind of point to, logically, that also means that we're going to be getting the Bad Batch starting airing spring of 2021, which lines up with a couple of the other rumors that are out there. So if you are excited about the Bad Batch, it is coming sooner than you think. It is right around the corner. And D23 is pretty much not the event, but the site D23 is kind of confirming that for
and
me.
This was probably finished a while ago, so it's just one of those things where they're like, let's figure out the best place to put it out and best time that doesn't conflict where other Star Wars stuff is going to take its spotlight away, and that looks like a perfect zone for that. But I wonder, is this the last of the ties to Dave Filoni being in any way tangibly involved in Star Wars animation? I think so.
You think it is?
It's like his whole team too.
Filoni, he wants the Oscar Isaac house, he wants that cash. And that's you follow the Favreau footsteps if you want that cash, right?
I think creatively he just wants to be able to work in live action too.
Yeah.
It's one thing working in animation, but it's another once you make that jump.
And he very clearly has his plate full right now. You know what I mean? They've got like three or four different shows that they're actively working on. I can't imagine he finds the time to pop in and do another animated series where it's like really his heart and soul. It's like, nah, he's gonna put all that into the live action stuff. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Last but not least is actually an addition as we were basically recording, or like right before we recorded. Star Wars Andor has also locked down 2 episode directors, Ben Caron, I guess, and Susanna White. They come from Discussing Film is actually the person who's putting out the report that's saying they're involved, but it makes sense considering the other people that we have confirmed as directors also have worked on projects that these have worked on. So it seems like they're pulling from that type of resource, and that this actually looks pretty likely. So if you want to learn a little bit more about these particular individuals and maybe get a glimpse of what you might get in the Andor series, then these are the names you want to check out. And you can check out that article and every other article on StarWarsNewsNet.com. Right, John?
Yep, that's the place. That's where you go every day. Every day with your bowl of cereal, just get up to date on your Star Wars news and
news, information,
in a nice way.
Reviews, editorials, and more.
Yeah. There you go. Part of a balanced breakfast, James.
All right, that's it for the Resistance Report this week. Lacey, if you want to head into our next segment, we're ready for it.
Yeah, so it's time for the Patreon pod race. So as you guys know, there's lots of different ways you can support us. You can like this video, comment, subscribe on YouTube, ring the bell for notifications so that you know when we post new content. You can follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN or on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. So if you want more than that, including mini episodes, mailings, polls, Discord chats, and much more, you can head over to patreon.com/resistancebroadcast. And starting at $2 a month, you support our show and what we're doing here and what we're trying to build as a community. And also, you get cool stuff in return. So our top tier, our generals, which is our highest tier, get a chance to be a part of the show. And that's what this segment is all about. So first, I want to say thank you to our generals. So thank you, Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw, David Probus, John Reese, Micah Harrison, Jetta Rosewater, Michael Gaines, Russ Harbison, Kendall Gelnar, Paul Olson, Jake Houchins, Jeff Connery, Oliver Lewis, Dave Hornack, Frank Grande, and Val Chichkoff. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate your support. And this week, we're heading to España. Our General MELO is back.
Whoa.
And his question was, who is the most important person to Star Wars after George Lucas? And so he has time now to answer that question. So take it away, MELO.
Hello, guys, and greetings from España. I hope you guys are doing well and weathering the snowstorm. Who is the most important person in Star Wars after George Lucas? I actually got this answer from you guys on when you guys did the interview with J.W. Rensler, and it has to go to Marsha Liu. Without her, Star Wars would have been a mess. George Lucas has a fantastic creative mind, but I think Marsha was the right person to wrangle all his ideas and actually put a good story on it. So after I saw that interview, I actually went down a rabbit hole and started researching on her, and I think it's fantastic all the job that she did, all her work. I want to say honorable mention would be a Star Wars fan, because without us, this Star Wars wouldn't go. Like without my dad, showing me Star Wars, I wouldn't know anything about this. And me showing my son Alessandro here, he wouldn't know either. Wouldn't be able to enjoy this. And now we have this transgenerational bond that goes, it might go forever. So I think it's a responsibility for us to actually to keep sharing the love, even we don't like all the movies, or we like all the movies, or we don't like all the movies, we still like the characters or the books, whatever. Well, before I go, I just want to take some time to say that when you watch this video, this little boy over here is going to be 11. So happy birthday, feliz cumpleaños.
Thank you.
And that's all we have. Viva la Resistance.
Great job, Mello. Happy birthday, Alessandro.
Happy birthday.
Hey.
The big 1-1.
The big 11. Happy birthday from us. John, what did you think of his answer?
I was 11 a long time ago in a state not that far away. So enjoy your birthday, buddy. Great answer. Marsha Lucas certainly was a massive part of why Star Wars kept existing after the first movie. Because as Steven Spielberg famously said, George, this movie is a mess, when he watched the first rough cut of the movie without the music or anything. So yeah, she doesn't get a lot of credit in the public sphere, but diehard fans know how important she was to cutting that movie up to make it flow and make the story work, and everything involved with its success. And I love that Mello brought up that he took the answer from J.W. Rensler in our discussion we had with him. That meant a lot to me. And sometimes you take for granted stuff you think is, common knowledge, and then someone like JW pops on and a listener maybe catches something they never heard before. And now Mello can spread that word, as he just did in his Padres answer, that you got to check out what Marsha Lucas did for Star Wars, because she isn't a hot name in terms of the history of it in the casual fan base, but a massively important person. So thank you for that. And also shout out to JW Rensler. Hope you're doing well, man. And but Mello, yeah, thanks, and happy birthday to your boy. You're the best. Hope you're well, and cheers, buddy.
James?
Yeah, it's amazing what possible answers people can come up with, and this is a good one. I start thinking, I'm like, man, you could say J.J. Abrams, you could say Jeans Guy. I don't know. There's so many different options.
Jeans Guy.
Of the importance of Star Wars, but no, totally everything that John was saying, uncredited. I did not think of this, but when I was thinking of all the possible answers that I would give, this was not one of them that I thought of, but it's totally correct. And it's amazing to think about how many other possible answers there are how many possible answers there are, and what those answers mean to different people and why. But good job, and I'm glad that you brought this. Thanks for being a general.
Mello, we are in fact buried under snow. Lots and lots of snow.
True.
So thanks for knowing that, because it's painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, great answer. Marsha's done so much for Star Wars. There's a really good video online about how much Star Wars was saved in the edit. I'll try to share it for you guys on Patreon. It's really, really good. It includes even audio clips of what people thought of the movie and stuff through interviews. But that being said, happy birthday to your son. Hope you guys have a great day, having fun together, and thank you for being a general. And now we're going to hear from other people in the community with Ask the Resistance. John?
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Yes, Ask the Resistance. We usually post a query for questions from you on Twitter, or if you just want to send them in at any time on that platform using hashtag AskTheResistance, I'll find them. We'll get you on the show. We'll talk about your question. And you always, our audience always submits good stuff and makes us think about things we don't usually bring up ourselves. Or if you'd like, some people have been emailing us questions. If you aren't a social media person or you're just a little shy, resistancebroadcast@gmail.com, and we'll get you up here. So here's our slate today. First one from Albatross at Bird Sith. Bird Sith. That's interesting. Okay. Can birds be Sith? I guess so. Why not?
Sure.
Why not?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's replacing another word, right?
I don't know.
No?
Anyway.
Okay.
I don't know. Their question is, you are made president of Lucasfilm tomorrow. What's one decision, whether it's a show, movie, game, book, or idea that you are really confident in but might sound crazy or stupid to most everyone else? I'd make a Lost Stars show. Book readers might not find that so outlandish, though. Lacey, what's on your mind?
Great question. My first obvious answer is a solo series to continue Han Solo and Chewie's adventures. I think some people find that outlandish, as I've realized in the past week when I tweeted about it. And people were like, it's called A New Hope. And I was like, there's like 10 years there. That's not true.
I get that one a lot, too. That's the laziest answer.
I was just like, that's a big chunk of time. That's almost as old as MELO's son. That's how much time that is.
Yeah, so Alessandra's like, that's my whole life.
That's just whole life. But for my own personal want, I've brought this up a couple times, but it's kind of just like been in the back of my head. I don't know if you guys ever feel that way when you kind of come up with your own idea or thought about Star Wars. It just kind of sits in your head. Which is another trilogy continuing on the saga with Rey and Ezra. I really think that would be cool.
I don't think that sounds crazy.
Some people might, though, because
Some
people don't
might.
want Rey and Ezra to be together. Some people like Ezra on his own thing and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there are some questions that need to be answered, and I think it would be cool to see Rey's story continue without the Skywalker stuff. Within reason, because her last name is now Skywalker. But
Imagine
you know what I mean.
Ezra becomes the villain of the next trilogy.
I don't know if I'd like that.
That just upset a lot of
I'm gonna be
people, I'm
honest.
sure. No, I know.
like that.
And Taylor Gray wouldn't like that either, I'm sure.
Yeah, great question, though.
Yes, thank you, Bird Sith. James, Kenny Craley Jr. at Kenny Craley. Way to get your handle, Kenny. Good job. You beat your father in getting your handle. Proud of you.
Took his.
He said, hey guys, first off, great work on the podcast as always every week. Thank you, Kenny. You're always
Thank you.
tweeting about it. We appreciate that, man. My question is, could you see Chloe Bennett playing Dr. Aphra in a future Star Wars live action project? Thanks. May the Force be with you, James Bainey.
Yeah, so here's the thing is that I have not seen anything with Chloe in it. But
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I know.
Nashville.
I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I've seen bits and pieces of Abominable. Surprisingly, I don't know how I even managed to pull that off. Maybe I was just watching too many trailers and clips and stuff. But that's only a voice. The thing about it is, I feel like she has a pretty strong fan base as like someone that could kind of break out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. As far as I understand. And the other thing is like, even the pictures that you provided in the tweet, I was like, I mean, it looks exactly like the character. I know that particular character has had a few different styles of animation done. So in my head, the character has kind of physically changed. Like sometimes I think, the character looks a little bit more like this, and sometimes I think it looks a little bit more like this. But if you were to cast this person and say that's the live action version of that character, that makes perfect sense to me. And I would imagine that with all of her history of doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that she would probably fit perfectly into this character. So good suggestion.
Nice. Do you think the character will ever make the jump?
That's kind of funny too. It's like a pun on Afra. Like I always think of her like jumping over the cliff or whatever. But yes, I think it'll happen. I think at some point, because she's just continued to grow and grow and grow. She was a side character in a Darth Vader comic, and then they're like, oh, we're going to give her her own. And then it's like, oh, this is crazy. We got to keep doing those comics because she's becoming a big character. And then they made toys out of her, and then they gave her an audiobook drama and stuff. It's like that. The popularity of that particular character is growing so quickly, becoming a fan favorite that I think it's very likely that they could eye that character to cross over at some point in something. And it could be some of these shows that are coming out soon. I mean, that's not too far away. That's only like 10 years or so removed from when she's active in the comics and stuff.
Right.
And Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka and all those other stuff. So
cool. Right on. All right. Next one, the Belford at Mr. Billy Belford, one of the hosts of the Call to Action Schmodown pods. What's up, Billy?
Billy.
Hope your internet is treating you better. What's going on, man? His question is, would Return of the Jedi been better if it took place on Kashyyyk? I picture a prodigal son storyline for Chewie. This is such an interesting question, and I know it's been debated, and George Lucas wanted to do it originally in early drafts and stuff, but I think yes, for Chewie and Han. I think James, I think you brought up that good point that kind of Han didn't really have a lot of an arc. His arc kind of finished, and he didn't have much to do, and he was kind of comic relief in Return of the Jedi, aside from blowing up the shield generator. But I think if they did it on Kashyyyk and there was more at stake, and you see Chewie taking care of family and maybe some Wookiees like getting hurt or dying, and Han gets pulled into that a little bit, you could have built that up a little more than have it be the Ewoks. Now I still love Return of the Jedi. I'm just saying it maybe would have added a little more weight for Chewie and Han because of it. So it's interesting to think about and like look at Return of the Jedi in my mind, the whole movie, and just replace Andor with Kashyyyk. And I think it would have been really interesting. What do you guys think? Real quick.
I think that there's still this odd hostility around the teddy bears. I'll talk to certain people that are like, Return of the Jedi, that's the teddy bear movie. That's the George Lucas wanted to make toys movie or something. And it always like catches me off guard, but I do still hear it. So it does make me think that it also kind of makes me picture that like that fake episode 9 imagery of like Finn with the flag. Like for some reason, I kind of can see that in the world and all this. And I know it's a totally different era, but like something about it being on Kashyyyk. I don't know. I agree with you, actually. Like, as much as I like Return of the Jedi and the Ewoks and stuff, I don't think it would be crazy to just move us over and just be like, yeah, these didn't exist. It was actually more this. We see a lot more Wookiees and stuff in Star Wars anyway than Ewoks.
Yeah. Lacey, Kashyyyk?
No, I like the Ewoks. I like the movie how it is.
Okay.
And I always have. And I agree with James. I don't get the hostility about it. I don't understand why people don't like it that much. When the same people that say that they don't like it are the ones that are like, yo, the saddest moment is when the two bears are laying there and the one bear's dead. But, like, those are the same people that said that they can't connect with these characters. Like, I loved it. I thought it was great. And it showed that, like, the little guy can defeat the Empire. That's what I get out of Ewoks.
Nice.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Billy. Good question. I enjoyed that. All right, last one here since we have time. From Haas Aslam at Haas_Aslam, one of our generals on Patreon, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Haas? How you doing, buddy? If all three of you were Padawans, John, James, Lacey, which of you would attain the rank of Knight first? And would any of you make it to Master? Please tell us why.
I'm pretty sure he's a commander, but you're still important, Haas.
I'm sorry, Haas. Yeah, so I don't know. I would be last, I think.
I think I would get to Knight first because I'm very competitive and I would like obsess to the point that I'd get there, but then my emotion would drive me nuts and I'd go Sith like real quick.
Nice.
So the question isn't even who would betray the order,
Yeah.
but you went there.
Yeah.
I feel like my anger would overtake me, and then that would be it. So I'd get there. I'd get there first. But would I really get there first?
Yeah. When it the question was who would attain the rank of knight and who would make it to master. I don't know.
Knight first. Who would be knight first?
Who would get to knight first? I don't know. I guess probably you, John, just based on the simple fact that I think you were involved with Star Wars Newsnet before any of us. You got there first, and you're oldest. I don't know. And
well, it's fuzzy.
yeah.
Well, I'm 63 in a couple weeks, so let's not go.
Let's not go with oldest. The other thing too is that, and I don't know if this really speaks to the personality, but I think we've kind of talked about this before. That if we had lightsaber colors, you guys would both do blue, and I would probably be green, which alludes loosely to like I would be a master and you guys would be knights, but. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really stretching to figure out who would be here. I'm just trying to look for something that makes some semblance of sense in this.
I don't think
because I'm better.
I don't think I would get to master because I feel like I'm more of a Qui-Gon kind of guy, and I don't like rules. But I'd still be like, I would dominate all of you. I just don't want to sit in your chairs and hang out here all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do. I want to go out and do stuff.
John would have to battle me after I go to the dark side.
Yeah, it'd be you.
Yeah, I would be Yoda, and you guys would be Anakin and
Obi-Wan. Hey, high ground. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm taller, so that's it. Game over.
Okay.
End of game.
I'm pretty sure she kills you in the fourth one, man.
I let it happen though. All right.
Yeah.
Judge me by my size, do you?
Yeah.
All right. So that is that. Thank you for everyone for your questions. We appreciate that. Keep sending them in. And make sure you do subscribe to the show, as Lacey said before, your preferred podcast platform. I'm a Spotify guy. And also, of course, YouTube. Thanks again to everybody for getting us over the 6K mark in subscribers. Let's try. It's a challenge here. This is going to be tough. But if we keep pushing, we can do it. Can we push and get to 10K before May the 4th? I'm putting that out there. It's a lofty goal. Try to get us there. Wherever we end up by May the 4th, it'll be better because we're pushing for it. So spread the word about our YouTube channel. We have more content there, obviously, than just the podcast. We got our book discussions. We have our unboxing videos. We have our rumor and theory reviews, our breaking news stuff, and our live streams and the virtual cantinas and all that stuff on there. So go check us out over there on YouTube, and we appreciate that. StarWarsNewsNet.com, like we said before, for all of your Star Wars news. Teespring.com/store/resistance broadcast for all of your gear. I see James is wearing one of our Mando Fan Show Season 2 designs on the insanely comfortable premium hoodies that they do over there. So fantastic. And this is the time of year for them. So that's about that. On Thursday, we're actually going to be interviewing Hal Hickel from Lucasfilm's ILM division. He is the main man over there when it comes to art direction, and he's been involved with them since the prequel days. We're talking even Pixar with Toy Story. We're going to dive into all of that with Hal Hickel and have a just a great time. I can't wait to talk to him. You guys excited about that? I'm so excited to talk to Hal. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey, Star Wars Newsnet, and my other podcast, Just Like the Movies, with my buddy Mike, where we talk about all kinds of different movies. We're doing Pulp Fiction tomorrow. So, James, what about you?
As usual, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MyerChunks, as well as a couple of videos that are up on the channel now. It's been about a week since Claudia Gray's Into the Dark came out. If you've blown through it and you just finished it up, we do a book discussion where we're talking spoilers and we're kind of getting into the nuances of the book, whether we liked it, rate, review, all that stuff. Spoilers involved. But if you didn't read the book or you're not interested in it, there's a video up on the channel that just kind of tells you what happens in the story. It's about 15 minutes or so, and we just kind of spoil it, tell you the whole book, and don't really give our opinions on it, just exactly the story as it is. So check that out if you're maybe interested, but not interested in spending like 11 or 12 hours reading the book.
Right on, man. Nice. Lacey?
People can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lacey Gillerin.
All right. And how about Sith Lacey for our word of the day?
Sith Lacey.
Sure.
You could put the one and only Lacey.
That's true. The one and only.
You
Lacey
choose.
Gillerin. Yeah, thank you, everybody. And we hope you enjoy your week. And again, we'll see you Thursday morning with another episode with Hal Hickel right here on the Resistance broadcast. See you around, kids.